Buenas tardes, YouTube. Welcome to my channel, Better Monday Fasting. Today I'll be talking about resting from fasting. It rhymes. Before we get started, I just want to make clear that it's everything I'm sharing in this video, it's not medical advice. So before making an important decision on your health, please do your own research and maybe consult a healthcare practitioner. That being said, let's talk about resting from fasting. And there are two ways we're going to be resting from fasting. So when we usually talk about fasting, it's the first thing that comes to mind. It's more like the depriving the body from food, and if we're dry fasting, from food and water. But in reality, the true definition of fasting is fasting, so depriving the body from food, then breaking our fast, and lastly resting. And that by resting, I mean coming back to our comfort zone. So eating, drinking, and that amount of time of rest we need should equal the amount of time we didn't eat. So if we went for a 36-hour fast, then after breaking our fast, we should keep in mind that for the next 36 hours, like the body is still recuperating, you know. So that's the first, and that's the rule of thumb. So if you go for 72 hours, 72. And also, so on a short fast, like 36 hours, you don't have to do much. I mean, you probably, after breaking your fast, you can go back to your normal routine at all levels. Just keep in mind that you're coming out of a fast, so if you feel a little tired or something, you can associate that to fasting. With longer fasts, though, like that resting period, you got to be more careful. So, like, even if with a 48-hour, 72-hour, and longer fast, I mean, don't schedule something after breaking your fast, thinking that, okay, I'm done with the fast, now I can, run a marathon. No, it's not. Again, you need the same amount of time to come back to your to be 100% again. So the body needs to recuperate, because fasting is stress, and then we rest, and that's where your metabolism is going to grow. That's where actually you're going to start feeling the results of fasting. So that's for the first, like, resting from fasting. In reality, it's the resting period during the actual fasting cycle. Considering that fasting is fasting, breaking the fast, and recuperating the same amount of hours. So that's the first rest. The second one, we can call it like going on vacation from fasting. So that it's more of a rest at a macro level, and that's going to happen more. Maybe you've been fasting regularly. You've been trying different fasting patterns. You've been going back and forth. You've made a lot of progress. You've been challenging yourself more and more and more. So it's possible that at one point you might get a little bit like bored. And actually, fasting should never be boring. So if it gets boring, it's either two things. Either you're not challenging the body enough, so maybe you need to increase the hours of fasting or approach it with a different fasting pattern. that makes it more like different, more challenging for the body. So that could be the one reason why fasting is getting boring. And the second one could be that you've been at a more macro level. So I'm not talking about just resting from fasting. You've probably been doing that if you've been, but at a macro level, with all the fasts you've been doing, maybe you started 6 months ago, fasting, and it's been going great, and you've been doing all this progress, and it's been great, and now you feel out of steam, so it could be that you need to forget a little bit about fasting. So go on a vacation from fasting, so not think too much about it, and go back to your baseline. I mean, maybe your baseline is already an intermittent fasting, so go back to that, or maybe go to really not think about fasting. Eat when you're hungry, eat when you want to, and those moments are very they're actually very important. That's where all the work we've been doing is being in a way absorbed by the DNA. Like it really starts sinking in, like everything we've been doing, it starts cementing the new you. So sometimes we need go on vacation from fasting, so we'll miss. So it's either you weren't challenging enough, and maybe you were challenging enough, it's just that you came at the end of a cycle where you're when it's kind of extreme term, but just as an image we can use it, like you're almost starting being burned out from fasting. It's not the case. I mean, burnout is really extreme. Like I don't want to really mean that way, but it's like it's time. I mean, maybe you felt that when you're, and I felt that with I'm a rock musician, and that's what I love. Like that's what I love doing. But sometimes when you've been intensely working on an album, and then you go on a month-long tour, and then sometimes it's you've been involved a lot with the thing you love the most. Sometimes you need that period where you miss it. Like I remember coming back from with my ex-band Channing Cup. I think we went on a tour. It was over a month long, with almost playing every night. And when we came back, we didn't want to see each other for a while. And I would go to the practice space, and I will do I don't want to write songs, play songs, but I'll put the metronome and do really basic stuff, or and then little by little starting collecting new ideas. And that's where actually it's similar to fasting. That's at that moment I will feel like I grew, from the tour. You do your tour, you rest. Then when you come back at writing again, you have a new perspective, as you've digested all that experience from touring. So you feel like a more seasoned musician. So it's a bit like that with fasting. It's like sometimes you have to go on vacation. Of course, if you've only done one fast and you decide to do that, so it might be for a different reason. It's not it shouldn't happen. In the early stages, it's more you've completed several cycles. You're already accustomed to fasting, and you're doing your thing. You already monitored progress, and so you what's up. And it's just that after a while, even though you've been maybe incrementing as you go, increasing your hours of fasting, changing fasting patterns, all that, you're hitting this, like, not necessarily a plateau of a certain fasting pattern, but like it's more of a macro level. So macro level, you need to, I mean, it's a little bit like that, you know. It's you know, when you go to the university, you'll have semesters, or like I went to UCSD, so we had quarters. So it's like the same amount of work people do in a semester condensed in a quarter. So after each quarter, you'll get a little break, you know, to recoup and start the next quarter. But at the same time, at the end of the year, usually people wouldn't take the fourth quarter, you know, and that'll be our summer vacation. And that's like the you know, more of a master resting for everything you've already accomplished throughout the year. So those are the two resting concepts we have to keep in mind while fasting. And I cannot emphasize it enough that it's as important, if not more, than fasting. The both resting. I mean, the one you're resting after, you know, the equal amount of hours after finishing your fast, and also the macro. Those are really. That's actually when you really put the money in the bank. You know, it's like you do all the work. You get better, the body is getting better, and especially with the, you know, the master resting, that's when it really, you know, you really like confirm your baseline and your progress and all that, and then you allow yourself to miss fasting. So you come back with more enthusiasm, more ideas of maybe new patterns, new schedules, new protocols. So yeah, so that's pretty much, and always listen to the body. I mean, how are you gonna know, like, you know, if it's time to rest? Well, you listen to the body, and if you get that signal of boredom, then you have to analyze. You know, you have to know why the boredom is coming. But it all comes down to the listening of the body, and that pretty much in all the videos I shoot. I'm gonna let the ambulance go by. Yeah, pretty much in all the videos I touch on this point of listening to the body. And to give a concrete example, today is Monday, and lately I've been on a 18-6 intermittent fasting, and on Wednesdays and Saturdays I will skip my OMAD, so I'll be eating 5 meals a week with a 16-8 intermittent fasting, and my meals are all keto, and that's been working really good, like, for me, like, so I've been doing that since May, but once in a while, you know, look, I started with 1 day of skipping the OMAD, went up to 2 days, then I came back to 1, then for 2-3 weeks I had I'll eat 7 meals a week, and then I missed that, so I came back to 1, then 2, and now I've been doing 2 for a good amount of time. And today the signal I got from my body. So yesterday I did a fast on Saturday. Yesterday I broke my fast, and I did a really good meal. So one was cacık, Turkish soup. I did a Turkish soup, yogurt soup. So it's garlic, dill. I didn't find dill, but I found other like sprouts. Uh, so garlic sprouts, or like usually the recipe is dill, olive oil, salt, or if you have access, instead of the salt, uh, seawater, and olive oil, and yeah. I mean, if you're using the seawater, no water. If you're using salt, then you need to add water. It makes this like soup. So I did that. I had it wasn't in the plan actually, but I had some guacamoles that were just ripe, some avocados that were just ripe. So I didn't want it to go to a darker color. So I did a little small guacamole. And the main dish was like some mushrooms, mushroom beets, cherry tomatoes, onions, then some Swiss cheese that you find here. It's crazy. I mean, it's made in Paraguay, but I'm sure it's a Swiss family, because they make like Gruyère, Appenzeller, like all this raclette, all this Swiss cheese, and they're actually better than the imported ones I will find in Colombia. So, and when I first purchased, like I thought it was imported because it was so good. Like I will eat the Gruyere, and I was like, oh, it's Swiss cheese, I mean Swiss Gruyere. And then I read the label more closely, and made in Paraguay. I was like, oh my God, how can? I mean, the thing is, like here, I mean, all the produce that has to do with the cow, it's like really high level. Also, the yogurt I'm getting, it's a Turkish yogurt. Of course, they sell it as the neighboring country's name, but yogurt is Turkish. The word is Turkish, and the product is Turkish. But it's been marketed with a with a different name. But it's great. It's amazing. Like the quality is. It's also made in Paraguay. So then those cheese melted, and then 4 eggs. So everything in the oven, in a little, I don't know how you call that, caslet. I'm not sure of the word. And then you put at different times. Obviously you're not going to put the eggs right away. So what I like to do is I put the beet, onions, mushrooms, onions first, with the butter and olive oil. So I'll get those, and then I put the cheese. I let the cheese melt, and at the end I put the eggs. And I like my eggs almost like raw. So I eat them like the yolk with the spoon. I love that. So I ate that, and so it was pretty. So yeah, it was really. It wasn't. It was just enough. It was really satisfying after my fast. And but this morning I woke up, and I got the message from the body that, you know what, don't eat today. Yesterday you ate enough for 2 days. Because I woke up, I was like, ping, like, very content, very, ready to attack the week, and nothing missing. And so today I'm not gonna eat, so I'm gonna fast. So then we'll see if I'll do Monday instead of the Wednesday, and I end up fasting 2 days, or maybe it's the body who wants to get into a more intense pattern where I'll be fasting 3 days. So it will be Monday, Wednesday, Saturday, and so maybe for a while I go like this. So it's really interesting. So today I got that message that, hey, you know what, what you're eating is enough. And once, when I was in Colombia, and I had done almost like for 2 months, I was doing like the 2 days a week, and I had got the opposite message. When I'll have the Thursday, Friday to eat, like the 2 days of consecutive eating, it will feel like it wasn't enough. I wasn't getting. So I will get the message from the body saying like, you should add. So then I stopped fasting on Wednesdays for a while. So that's the whole, like, I mean, I'm sure it sounds a bit abstract, but that's the whole art of listening to the body, understanding the message, and acting upon it accordingly, like with the right solution, you know, the right response. It would be more correct to say that. So once you get that skill down, it's very, because chances are, if I just that's hypothetical, but say that I just follow my routine that I set up, my pattern, you know, be like, oh, okay, today is eating day, I'm gonna eat anyways. You know, maybe tomorrow I wouldn't feel that good, or maybe I have lower energy. Who knows? So we'll see. I mean, that's also, you know, like I'm learning every day with this journey, you know. But I'm pretty sure with the experience I have that that's like, I got a message today from my body this morning, and I think I was able to read it right. So we'll see what happens. We'll see, you know, if I feel hungry tonight or something, or I don't know how the body is able to communicate that, but it was like I was feeling content in a way that, oh, I could go like this for several days, and not like, oh, I feel content, but just for today, and I look forward to eating tonight, because I don't look forward to eating tonight. And also, like, now it's like I think it happens to a lot of entrepreneurs. Like, you know, you start all these projects, and some of them, they take a lot of time. There's all these like steps. So, you know, they're gonna send you samples, and you wait for 2 weeks, and then you're gonna have to do tests, you know, 3 weeks, and then, you know, like you have like, so you start other projects, and in my case it was like the book project with the translation, and then at one point it does since you're a solopreneur, it does like the bottleneck, I think they call it like that. I mean, you know, because each time like there's somebody intervenes on your book, you have to read it from cover to cover again to make sure that they did not introduce like an error. And if you find errors, you know, like for formatting, for example, I found an error. It wasn't the fault of the formatter. It was that's an interesting mistake. We have time, maybe I'll talk about that. Yeah, that's a very interesting mistake that was done by the editor, and it tells something about fasting. So just to finish up, and then you have to read cover to cover. So now I have I read the Spanish translation, so we can give it to format. But at the same time, I had to read the formatter, and I also read cover to cover, like the English editor. And then I didn't catch something, so I'm gonna share this with you, and it's not like to put it's not to put the editor on the spot or anything, but it's just like it shows us how, for me, it was a very interesting mistake, because usually at that level, like I mean, those people, they don't make many mistakes, you know, they're very high level editors. So it was the portion of the book that talks about water fasting. So I'm explaining water fasting, and my sentence, maybe it's not the best English, but my sentence was, not because you're water fasting, you should drink plenty of water all day. So it's not because we are, maybe instead of putting not, I should have putting, it is not. Yeah, maybe I made a mistake. So, and then the editor put it like notes, you know, column, because you're water fasting, you should drink plenty of water, you know. And so it could be a combination of maybe me making a little mistake, but she understood it in a way like, oh, if you're water fasting, you should drink plenty of water, because that's the idea is being spread around for decades, you know. Actually, I wanted to say the total opposite. It's not because you're water fasting that you should drink plenty of water. Because my approach is like, even if you're water fasting, do a portion of it dry, you know. And so if you can watch my video on hydration and everything, I understand. Like, I mean, because my idea is like, it's not because you're drinking water that you're hydrating yourself, you know. If you drink plenty of water, you're gonna be plenty of going to the bathroom and producing plenty of urine, you know. That's hydration is it's something else. And so I have a whole video, and there's also a chapter in the book about hydration and how to bring the fluids inside the cell, you know, and not just drinking it and flushing it out of our system without taking any advantage of it. And the same, a similar logic goes for food, you know. If your intestines are not absorbing well, you're just throwing your money out of the toilet, you know. It's just you're eating, you're not absorbing, and so those are important concepts. So yeah, so that was the video about resting from fasting. And also I shared a little bit about like that concept of listening to the body, you know, listening to the body, and then understanding the body, not get lost in translation, not interpret in the wrong way, you know, the messages, and then act, take action, respond, and then analyze how the response worked, and from there learn. Because once we master that, it's very like, man, like it's your, I mean, once you master that, I mean, you're like the year is gonna have more days, you know. Everything's gonna be more efficient, you know. Like you're gonna be performing more at your peak. Everything's gonna be going more like smoothly. So all the time we're wasting, you know, when today I don't feel good, or today I have a headache, like, you know, all those, like, there's gonna be less of those days and more like days where we're up, and that makes a huge difference, you know. If you're into productivity, getting things done, and enjoy life to the maximum. So that's so it's an important abstract but important part of fasting. And so even the main topic of this video wasn't that about that. I always share that, and since today I had that, I experienced that, like my body telling me that you know what. And yeah, it could be many things. Also now it's like it's kind of, we're in the spring, summertime, like it start getting really hot in Paraguay. So it can also be that, like that. You know, I don't need to eat that much because the weather is getting warmer. So the body is communicating to me that, you know, like the fast was good. You broke your fast. You eat. It was good amount, but it's enough for 2 days. So don't eat tonight. So thanks a lot for watching the video, and I hope to see you in another video soon. Thanks.